their expectations up front. So my clients know their cash to close on a purchase price before they even set foot in their first house to go look at. The reason I think that's important is, you know, you can be perusing online. A lot of people just like to click on Zillow or Redfin and start looking at stuff for sale. And these online calculators are great, but they're not exactly finite, and they don't include all the third-party expenses that go into a transaction. So closing costs on top of your down payment is something that needs to be well documented up front. And I definitely prepare my clients with a spreadsheet up front, so they know exactly what to expect.
Well, I think I agree with you 100%. It's a very intimate process. It's a very stressful process. This is usually the biggest thing you ever buy in your life, is your home.
Yeah, and I always like coin myself as their quarterback. So for me, I'm calling all the plays. I'm making sure all the parts are happening. You know, I'm like the puppet master behind the scenes. While I do take a lot of paperwork, I look at every single thing someone sends me, make sure it's correct, have it uploaded, we get it cleared, but there's a lot of moving parts, and I try to take, you know, a lot of that stress off my client. Once you submit most of the paperwork I ask up front for pre-approvals, so then you don't have as much to get down the road. When you're looking at starting the process, generally a lot of people have that stuff together already. So, you know, I'd rather just take it up front and then let you submit reduced documentation as time goes on. That way, you know, the deal can move a little faster. If you're in a multiple offer situation and the seller wants a 30-day, we're already halfway there.
That's awesome. So what's the future for a mortgage mom?
I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I'm writing that chapter every day. Since it's new, I just launched it last summer. I'm using it for a platform for education. I used to do a lot of financial education in the Chicago public schools when I lived there. From first grade through Lane Tech High School, I did, you know, classes, just little informative sessions for seniors that were trying to navigate their next chapter, whether it was student loans, if they wanted to go to technical school, and, you know, how they navigate the student loan process and how important credit really is. The second component is I really like to look into, you know, partnering with other women for some empowerment in terms of financial education for families. You know, I think it's important that, you know, all households, the parties and the adults know, you know, what happens in the event of an emergency. You know, it's like preparing for a fire drill. And finally, I'm still going to be using the blog for mortgage pieces and mortgage information. But I'm definitely starting to introduce it to small business and do a small business spotlight, and definitely some more mom posts. I think I did my first one just in December, and then I left it off that I would do my second post on self-care, because generally, you know, when you have a family, or you're so busy with your work schedule that oftentimes you're not really taking care of yourself, and that self-care is different for everybody. So I think I'm gonna just navigate it and see where it goes, and I'm excited about it, actually.
I think you should, because I think Mortgage Mom is a great idea. I think it empowers women who are this dual incomes now, so they are 50% of it, so they need to be empowered with mortgage and just with financial literacy across everybody. We need to understand a little bit more where all our money goes.
Absolutely, it's important.
It is super important. So thanks so much for stopping by and sharing a little bit about it. We're so excited for the Mortgage Mom, and we're so excited for what you do, and thank you for what you do and how well you do it.
Thank you for your time. I'm really happy to be here.
You're welcome, and we're going to be right back with more Business Connection. Stay tuned. If you're interested in a television appearance on Business Connection as a way to reach out to your community or to gain exposure for your company, contact NCTV17 at 630-355-2124. I'm Liz Spencer, and thank you for watching Business Connection.
This episode of Business Connection is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor Esser Hayes Insurance Group, serving the Naperville community by putting an expert in your corner since 1941.
Coming up on Naperville News 17, could the Naperville Township Road District be dissolved? Students show up for service on their day off. And check out what chugged its way into the Morton Arboretum. Hello everyone, I'm Kim Pierce. Thanks for joining us for this week's Naperville News. A federal judge has dismissed a lawsuit against District 203 and the city of Naperville filed by the parents of a boy who died by suicide after having a disciplinary meeting with Naperville North High School officials. The parents of 16-year-old Corey Walgren claimed that in January 2017, school officials caused, quote, extreme, intolerable, and excessive emotional and physical distress, and violated their son's rights when they met with him without his parents present and insinuated that a suspected recording on his phone could result in him having to register as a sex offender. Walgren left the meeting and later jumped off a parking deck. The judge in the case ruled that the threshold to prove Corey's rights had been violated had not been met, and that the questioning methods used, though, quote, harsh and aggressive, were ordinary interrogation tactics. The door is open for refiling a new complaint or appeal, though the family has not commented on any plans to do so. Nico Valley High School will be saying goodbye to its principal at the end of the school year. NVHS principal Bob McBride will be stepping down from his post after over 10 years in the position. He's leaving to take a new job as superintendent of Lockport High School District 205, replacing current superintendent Dr. Todd Wernett, who's retiring on June 30th. McBride will assume his new role on July 1st. A new question on Naperville Township residents' ballots could void a previous referendum. Our own Casey Krajewski has the details.
Naperville Township and Lisle Township voters elected to merge their two road districts in 2017. But a new referendum could render that decision void.
It's a very new law. It took effect January 2018. And the law basically states that a municipality or township can incorporate the roads into the township and take over the roadship's debt and all of its assets and eliminate the road commissioner's position only.
A question on the April 2nd ballot will ask voters if this new law should be instituted. But this time, only Naperville Township will weigh in. If they vote yes, it will overrule the previous vote.
And the confusion here is on the referendum prior to the enactment of the law, we were supposed to merge with Lisle. That is a binding referendum, but this law was not in effect when this binding referendum took place. Therefore, it gives the Naperville Townships an option.
If residents vote to dissolve the Highway Commission, that would likely void the 2017 referendum, as the Lisle Township Road District cannot merge with a government entity that no longer exists. If residents vote to keep their Highway Commission, the townships would be required to complete the merger by 2021. A written statement from Lisle Township Highway Commissioner Ed Young read, "The Lisle Road District doesn't know what effect, if any, Naperville Township referendum would have on the consolidation of the Lisle-Naperville Road Districts, approved by both townships' electorate in April 2017. The Highway Commissioner is consulting with the Lisle Township trustees and supervisor. That merger would create an annual tax decrease of about $24 for Lisle Township residents, and a $3 tax increase for the average Naperville Township resident, something Bedford hopes will sway voters to dissolve the Highway Commission."
I believe in this, or I would not have gone down this road with the blessings of now the board and with the blessings of the committee, the working committee, and hopefully we will get the blessings of the Naperville Township residents to move forward.
Bedford said Naperville Township Highway Commissioner Richard Novinger is also in favor of dissolving the commission, even though it would eliminate his own position. For Naperville News 17, I'm Casey Krajewski.
There are 3 information sessions scheduled to discuss the referendum, the first of which will be held January 30th at the Naperville Municipal Center. Naperville's 2 mayoral candidates met in the first candidate forum of the 2019 election season. Naperville News 17's Blaine Irwin was there.
Mayor Steve Chirico and challenger Rocky Kaler recently participated in a mayoral candidate forum. Instead of facing off like a debate, they both spent 30 minutes in front of the audience alone, and both answered the same series of questions on topics ranging from the environment to city services and, of course, development. Chirico says development is one of his priorities.
Economic development. This is critical if we're going to continue to fund great schools. They have but one lever to pull, and that's property taxes. We need to have a strong local economy and a diverse tax base to secure long-term funding for the schools and parks.
Kaler emphasized caution when approaching modern development.
Respectful or responsible strategic development. I'm pro-development if it's done right. We're at our borders. We've got infill going on now, redevelopment. We have to sit with the neighborhoods. We have to find out what's compatible.
When asked about Naperville's affordable housing, Kaler agreed it is a problem, but did not specify a solution.
We have seniors that I've listened to them talk at the council chambers. They'd love to be downtown. There's nothing affordable for them here.
Chirico said the city has been trying to improve the situation, but said it's difficult to get support for affordable homes like apartments.
Because the neighbors never want development around their home, and that's just the way it works. So we need to balance that with the needs of the whole community.
The forum was hosted by Indivisible Naperville and a number of other grassroots political organizations. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Blaine Irwin.
Election Day is April 2nd, and you can follow NCTV17 for more information about all the candidates running for local office. After the break, North Central welcomes a new representative at their annual MLK Prayer Breakfast.
We tell everybody's stories big and small. Everybody's story matters to us, and it comes in a variety of shapes and sizes, and that's what makes it so special. We don't always need a big story. Sometimes we want a story that makes us laugh. Sometimes we want a story that we relate to. Sometimes we want to cry with that story. But more importantly, we want to hear the stories about our people in the community.
We live in a safe community, but not a crime-free community. If you see something, say something. Be a Naperville Crime Stopper.
U.S. Representative Lauren Underwood came to North Central College to give the keynote address for the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Prayer Breakfast. Naperville News 17's Blaine Irwin was there.
North Central College students, faculty, and members of the Naperville community rose bright and early to be at the college's annual Martin Luther King Jr. Prayer Breakfast. Usually, the college brings in an alumnus to speak, but this year, U.S. Representative Lauren Underwood delivered the keynote address, reflecting on Dr. King's words that have inspired her.
Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Faith, he said. And that's what it felt like when I decided to run for office. I could not see the whole staircase. I couldn't even see more than a few steps in front of me, so it took a little faith.
The newly elected Congresswoman is the youngest black woman to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. She was invited to the campus by a professor, and a recent North Central College grad helped make it happen.
One of her assistants, Ashley Clayton, is an alum of the college and graduated in 2018 and was able to coordinate the visit.
Following Congresswoman Underwood's speech, the college chaplain closed with a prayer and some words from Dr. King himself.
Let us be dissatisfied until America will no longer have a high blood pressure of creeds and an anemia of deeds.
MLK Day rings a historical bell at North Central College, too. Dr. King visited the campus in 1960, gave a speech in Pfeiffer Hall, and later met with students and faculty. Reporting for Naperville News 17, I'm Blaine Irwin.
Next year, North Central College will cancel classes on the morning of Martin Luther King Jr. Day to emphasize the service